Welcome to our Get Out There, How Serving Your Community Can Jumpstart Your Career Development workshop. Today, we are going to have Mary Helen Franze, an educational consultant currently working with SSU as the Career Pathway Specialist Consultant in the Pre-Collegiate Programs Department. Mary Helen has been a youth advocate and educator all of her life for 30 plus years, empowering youth through community service, career exploration, and civic engagement as pathways to discover and prepare for rewarding jobs and careers. She is very proud of the work that she's done with a nonprofit that she created and founded in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 2009 called Spark Y. And today she will be bringing that experience to share insight on the importance of getting out in your community to jumpstart your career development. So whenever you are ready, Mary Helen.
Great.
Take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for your patience. I guess flexibility is something we always have to have in any career. So with that said, let's get started. Why jumpstart your career development through community service? We'll go with the first slide here. Well, organizations and people you approach to volunteer your time generally always want to accept this kind of offer. They don't say no. It's a great way to find out what skills you might be good at. You can try out different activities, types of work to see what you enjoy or don't enjoy. You can start your professional networking too with connections. Everybody you meet that you might ask about a project you're interested in or answering their need will bring you people and mentors that you will be able to ask career questions to. You might even possibly get an informational interview or job shadowing opportunity, which are key ways to explore possible careers. Now, let me mention a little something about informational interviews. That is really where you are interviewing someone else. They are the interviewee, someone who has a different job role you might be interested in, or a particular company that you want to learn more about. And so you will be asking them the questions and making them comfortable enough to start exploring you and asking you questions. Things can pop up like a possible job shadowing. If it seems like it's a good match, they could invite you in to have a day, shadow them for the day and see what it's like. They might know somebody in a different area or department that's looking for someone for an internship. So it's the beginning of your connections that are really important. Okay, let's see. Let's go to this link. And I'd like to introduce this Stanford professor, Bill Burnett. And he's going to speak to, he does a class on design your life. So let's see what he has to say. Can we hear him?
Oops, sorry, one sec. Let me make sure it's sharing the audio.
As we said, it's just another tool in your tool belt, but it's a tool that happens to work.
Now it went out.
And this isn't a problem. This is just college students. This every time we talk about designing your life in the class we're doing, 30 somethings who are thinking about, changing jobs, 40 somethings who are thinking about changing careers, 50 somethings or 60 somethings who are thinking about their encore career. All want to know, what am I going to be when I grow up? It's a question that really never goes away because hopefully your life is fun and creative and you never grow up. But it creates anxiety, and it particularly creates anxiety at that point, it's senior year when you're about to the big transformation occurs from I'm in college or I'm a student to no, I'm not a student anymore. We call it the decision explosion. Prior to that, all you had to do was work hard in high school to get into good college, pick a major, get through the major. You've jumped all the hurdles. It's like, oh my God, now what do I do? And it is, if you think about it, it's a classically wicked problem. You can't get that much data about your future. You don't know what you really want to do. This notion that you have a passion and you follow it, I think, is one of the most destructive ideas that anybody talks about, because the research says less than 20% of anybody, college students or anybody, actually knows their passion and knows how to fulfill it. We find that most people find their passion by working into something that then becomes the thing that they're passionate about. And so, college students have a lot of what psychologists call dysfunctional beliefs. They believe that their major is going to determine what they do for the rest of their lives, which isn't true. 10 years out of school, less than 20% of the people are doing anything that has anything to do with their major. They believe that they have to make one choice and that this choice is going to plot their trajectory forever. This generation will absolutely have at least 2 completely different careers, maybe 3, because this may be the first generation to work 70 years, right, past college. So the Designing Your Life class just sort of jumps in and all that stuff. It says, look, it doesn't matter where you are, wherever you are here. And from here, we can't navigate to your future because that's not possible. We don't know where your future is, but we can do what we call wayfinding, and we can run prototypes. An internship is, in a sense, a prototype. Shadowing a doctor for a day and seeing if you really want to be a surgeon is a prototype. It's living in the world of the people who are doing the thing you think you want to do. And so the class is really impactful. So one class I get more spontaneous emails, from people out 2 years, 3 years, 4 years out saying, I'm still using all these techniques. It's fantastic. I really feel like I'm getting the life I want. It's very generative. My friends are asking me to teach them how to do this. So, the design method really works when you have these fuzzy and ambiguous problems like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Okay, well, that was
February. So many.
We can get out of that. So that's a college professor at Stanford. And I think some of the things he says are legitimate. Some of our passions do go all the way with one career in our life. But I like how he's kind of taking the pressure off and letting us know that there's going to be a lot of careers that we may have. So we'll go to the next slide here. I also wanted to note that there's a resource slide that has some more YouTubes by Professor Bill Burnett to check out. Okay, so get started. That's important. You got to jump in. Possibly you're already volunteering and doing community service. Maybe your school requires a certain number of community service hours. Colleges definitely look for extracurriculars as a way to discern if a student applying can handle multiple responsibilities and is well-rounded. Of course, your schoolwork and your responsibilities and your home come first. But community service is a very valuable extracurricular. It shows you're civic-minded, caring for your community, and take initiative to make the world better. What's important is that you just get started. Look for an opportunity to volunteer where you may learn more about yourself and how you might think about a career, different things that you will maybe eliminate, or you might find interesting that can lead you to the next idea that you might have in a career. Okay, the next slide. So how do we do it? So if you really don't have much community service yet, look around your neighborhood. What's surrounding in your community or your school community that you think that might need some help? A person might need a help, a neighbor, maybe they need yard work. Be authentic, be genuine. What can you do that will really contribute to a problem or a need? And what interests you? Be curious. Curiosity is seen as a main component to really good emotional intelligence. You're curious about what others' opinions might be. You learn to be a good listener. You're going to look at the next possible idea and be brave. It's not always easy to start something or approach someone that you don't know, an adult, but be brave. You might want to try, and you might want to try that something you've never done before. There's opportunities there. Maybe you want to try being a leader, or you want to gather some of your friends or people or coworkers to do a specific community service project. Again, they're not going to say no. Really, your community needs you. And it's a way to develop your skills that will be needed in a career. Muhammad Ali said, "Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth." And I just love that one. So we'll go to the next slide and we'll talk about investigation and research. I'm sure you're well adept at research, being in high school, doing papers, using the web to look up things. And the same is for getting out there in your community and finding out what you might like that would translate into a career. If you're interested in helping out a neighbor, find out their name if you don't know the name of the adult that you can help. If you're thinking of a larger project, research companies that you would be interested in learning about. Look on their website, see what they have available. There's all kinds of information. Now, if you're looking for community service, look for these keywords. Community, obviously, but there'll be something maybe under community affairs, sponsorships. A lot of companies have sponsorships, which are dollars that they're going to give to the different initiatives that they support. Education is often one, sometimes the arts, maybe the homeless. Foundation is an organization that has funding that they give out to help people and different initiatives for their mission. Grants, look for the word grants. That's the free money. That's money that you could use for a idea for a community project that you have. Now, and of course, the word community service. Now, these will require some work on your end. You'll probably have to apply. You may have to have a different criteria that you will have to follow. You can ask maybe to call one of these companies if you see that they care about the environment, for example, and you have an idea. You can call them and ask them if they will sponsor you and your particular community service project idea. They could provide you with all kinds of resources to help, like people power, expertise, advice, and money, to mention a few. All right, let's go to the next slide. And let's look at these websites. So the first one, dosomething.org, has all kinds of really fun ideas. And you can subscribe to this, and they're constantly, I love what they're talking about, the strength in community. You're doing two things here. You're helping yourself out by being curious and discovering and uncovering different types of things that go into projects that are transferable skills for a career. So keep that one handy because they are always looking for ones. Now let's go to the city of Santa Rosa. So remember the keywords we're looking for? Let's type in the search box, community grants. Let's get right to it. Let's see if they have any free money for different community grants up in the search box. And look, there's a community improvement grant. It's at $2,500. Let's see, I think that's the second one down. Yep, there it is. So community service grant, there will be an application and you will have to, write up what you're doing. You'll have to follow the instructions, but each municipality and city generally has something and they want to help the youth. Youth are really always something that our communities want to empower. And by you taking the initiative, there's another skill you're building. Okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, well, let's make a plan. Planning is always very significant in everything we do, right? So this is literally making an outline or a plan. Just write down what your community service project idea is. So this is something that you're going to initiate. Get a bunch of friends together or fellow students to make this action plan. So within an action plan, there'll be bulleted to-dos. So different things you need, benchmarks, and dates. Put dates by the different tasks that you're which is an explanation of what you want to ask a neighbor or maybe the company. Write down what you're going to say so you can practice that. It's hard to ask for things. It's hard to address adults sometimes. So write it down and practice it. Practice it in the mirror. Practice it in front of a trusted adult. It sounds silly, but you will be better prepared when the time comes to ask. Why are you asking an organization to help you with this project? What makes it exciting to you? Be genuine about it. And you can have it all ready for when you call or email, or in person is always really great. So let's try. Let's take a few minutes. If you have paper that you're taking notes today, and write up a talk track. So think of an idea that you want to ask somebody to help you with. Let's take about 3 minutes and write down what exactly you'll say. Like, hello, Mr. Jones. I'm Mary Helen Franze. I go to this school and I'm doing a community project with some fellow students, and I'm wondering if I could get your help for X. Write it down now and see how that looks. Make sure at the end of the talk track, you're going to summarize why you're taking their time. So that will be the last sentence in this talk track. We've got a couple more minutes. Be sure to be genuine. Ask a question that you really want to hear their answer for. Okay, we'll continue on. You can finish that later if you'd like as well. So professionalism is very important. And the first thing you can do is make sure that you thank anybody that you had time, took their time, whether it be a phone call, a face-to-face, an email, anytime that someone has offered their time and their information and expertise, it's important to thank them. And also, you can ask after the project and the service that you did for a recommendation letter, referral letter, or a testimonial about you and your project, if that's appropriate. This is the beginning information that you have for resume building. Always thank the person, as I said, and a handwritten note is a great way to do it. It's kind of old-fashioned, but it's the best. People would love to get a note from you. Or an email and text or phone is fine. And be sure to do it right away, right after your interaction with them, while you're fresh in their mind. Be prompt. thanking people, this is something that I tell people often. Feeling and showing gratitude is the secret ingredients to a happy life. Try it. And the more I'm thankful, the more good things I receive to be grateful and thankful for. Okay, next slide. So reflection, journaling, and keeping good records. Get yourself a journal or a notebook while you're on this career exploration. Staying organized and keeping records is really important. Write down all the names of the people that you're hearing about or working with or are referred to, and get their contact information, their email or their phone number. This is the beginning of your networking. Networking is often the way everybody gets a job, and really will help you maybe use people in the future that you've met in the past who say that they are willing to be in touch with you, and ask if you can go back to them in the future for more questions or information or mentoring. Write your reflections. What did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about the skills that you like or you don't like? The jobs that you see that would be better or not? How did it make you feel to help others? Note all the many career building and development skills that you experienced. There's a lot. There are so many tasks you needed to follow through with that translate into a desirable employee. Write them down. Write some of them down. Keep track of these things. Again, they'll be helpful for job applications, for writing your college essay, for your resume. Do you see a connection with your experiences that might help you to think about careers? There probably are a lot. And finally, celebrate. Always celebrate hard work and helping others. Okay, these are some more resources. Again, those are YouTubes by Professor Bill Burnett from Stanford on designing your life.
Right. Thank you, Mary Helen. And I shared those links in the chat. So we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to welcome a recent college grad who is out in the working force, who has a lot of experiences with community work and internships. So we have Maddie Batchelder here, who is a senior consultant at CloudMed, and we're going to ask her a few questions. So I know there was one question in the chat or in the Q&A, so we'll get to that as well, but feel free to add anything as we are chatting with Maddie here. So welcome, Maddie. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I thought we could have you start off with just giving a little bit of your background about what you're currently doing, as well as telling us a little bit about your experience with internships or community work like Mary Helen was talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess it all kind of started my freshman year of high school. I went to Santa Rosa High, and I was a volunteer coach for Special Olympics for all 4 years of high school. And so that was the main volunteer work that I did then. And I kind of had the opportunity to integrate it into my high school as well, which was really fun. And I also volunteered with the Series Community Project for a summer. And that was kind of what exposed me a little bit more to public health. And so after graduating from Santa Rosa High, I went to UC Berkeley, and I majored in public health and minored in Spanish. And kind of going into Berkeley, I really had no idea what public health even meant at the time. It's a super broad field, but I think that's what was kind of exciting to me, just that you could do so much with it. And so I really wanted to use those 4 years of college to explore different sectors of it and just kind of get to know what I could do after college. And so it, like I said, it really encompasses so many things. So you could do like environmental health or health policy or maternal health, and just so many more things. And so kind of to get to know what I was interested in, I started with an internship as a case management intern with the International Rescue Committee, I worked in an office in Oakland, and I mainly helped with the resettlement of refugees into the Bay Area. And I absolutely loved it and did it for about 6 months in between my freshman and sophomore year. And from that experience, I really learned that I loved kind of tackling access to healthcare, which is obviously a huge issue in the country and something that is very relevant in many just different sectors of public health. And so from there, I decided to try to intern with another organization that deals with a similar issue, but with a different population. And so my junior year, I was a health navigator intern with Operation Access in San Francisco. And from here, or through that work, we helped connect uninsured patients around the Bay Area to any healthcare services that they might need. And so these healthcare services were all donated. And so again, helping with more of like the access to healthcare side of public health. And then the second semester of my junior year, I actually studied abroad in Chile. And part of the program was actually doing an internship while you were down there as well. And so I ended up working closely with a nutrition professor in the public health department at the University of Chile. And this is where I started to get a little bit more interested in the research aspect of public health and also nutrition. And it kind of ties back to what I did in high school with the Series Community Project, which kind of laid the foundation of that for me. And so I got to work a little bit more with data and data analysis, which was really interesting, and also meshing in some Spanish in there, which I'm super passionate about. And so that was really fun to just be able to combine so many different parts of the field. And so then when I came back to school for my senior year, I was trying to find a way to connect it all. And by this time, I really was narrowing down my interests a bit more, but there's still so much left to kind of learn and explore. But during my senior year, I worked as a research assistant with the undergraduate research apprentice program at Berkeley. And I was working with a nutrition professor and grad student to basically write a research brief on the effect of sugar sweetened beverages and the sugar sweetened beverage tax in the Bay Area, and to see how that has affected consumption over the years. And so again, that was kind of back to the data analysis part of public health, but also looking at nutrition as a whole and kind of mixing the two together, which was really interesting and fun for me. And then that kind of leads to where I am now. So senior year, I still didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And I think that's very normal. Even through like many different internship or volunteer experiences, you don't need to have it all decided by your last year of college or last year of high school. It's all about exploration and just getting to know what's exciting and interesting to you, I think. And so I had done a lot of work in like the nonprofit world, especially within healthcare. And so I was kind of interested to see what the private side of healthcare would look like. And so I am now at CloudMed, which is a private healthcare company in San Francisco. And I do consulting work and working as kind of a liaison between insurance companies and hospital systems around the country. So it's very different than a lot of what I did in college, but I think it's, again, just more about exploring what you like. And I've been able to take a lot of things from my past experiences into this job, such as working within teams and getting to work in the healthcare industry still. So definitely ties together in that way, but I think there's still a lot for me to explore and learn through this job too.
That's great. So you've done a whole slew of different things, which is awesome. So you really took advantage of it, which I think is important. So I think you kind of touched on this a little bit, but how did those experiences really enhance your development, your career development or career skills? I think you kind of talked a little about how it got you to where you are, but what maybe skills did you learn that you might not have otherwise gotten if you didn't do those experiences?
Yeah, I think honestly, it really started with Special Olympics and just realizing how much I enjoyed working with people and collaborating with others. And so I think that also laid a foundation for any other experiences or opportunities I looked for. I really knew that I wanted to work on projects with other people and be able to talk with others through ideas or really work directly with the people that the organization that I would intern or work for served. So I loved that aspect, but I think I also, for example, senior year with the research that I was doing, I realized that I also kind of like a mix of working on my own and also collaborating with others. So kind of having the opportunity to do data analysis and kind of think through issues by myself and then bring like a larger problem to the group and be able to talk through things and come up with solutions together instead of kind of being in your own zone, which some people prefer, but I kind of realized through working with a research group that I really liked the mix between the two. And then I guess more broadly, I learned through the different experiences that I loved working in the healthcare sector. And like I said, I kind of wanted to be exposed to different sides of it. So nonprofit is so different from private healthcare in terms of like the resources you have access to, or honestly, like the people that you're working directly with day to day. But I think having exposure to working directly with clients or certain populations has helped me in my current role by being able to think about that and because the work that I do now can be so broad in a sense of working with these huge systems and not feeling like I'm really connected with the people that these hospitals serve, but then realizing that after working at a nonprofit, they are the direct, I guess, basically they're the ones that we have the direct impact on. So I always keep that in mind with the work that I do too. Yeah.
So Mary Helen, this is actually a question for you that I was curious your perspective on is, do you have any suggestions for students who might need to work or who have family responsibilities that might not be able to get out there as easily and have all these other experiences that we've been discussing? Or how can they still do those while, managing their other family responsibilities?
Well, yes, I'm glad you asked. I really think that what's really most important is to just get out there. Just like Madeline said, she started right away in high school, with the Special Olympics. And, enterprise your chores. There's a challenge I'm writing up, actually, a learning module that talks about enterprising your chores. Look, if you have to, maybe you live on a farm and you have a lot of animals you have to work with. Maybe some of these tasks and these, all this work that you have for family responsibilities, you're going to think, oh gosh, I'm never going to do this. This is not a career I'm exploring. But let's break it down just like Madeline did. Do you like working with animals? Are you good with it? What are you good at with that? Are you not? Do you have to supervise your siblings after school? Maybe your time is taken up with supervising them. Okay, Hello, do you hear the word supervisor? That is a career criteria for many jobs. People try to build into being a supervisor. You get paid more for that. Sit back and reflect, use your journals. Think about what you really are getting from that experience. Can you do it better? Are you doing your chores as a disgruntled person? Or are you doing them with a positive attitude? Are you helping your siblings? Maybe you have a new idea for organizing the house or cleaning the yard or something like that. Okay, put it down, write it down. How will you do that? You made improvements. You created a new system. Maybe you find out how you can go beyond what's right there. And I always tell people, and even starting businesses, of which I've started many, you start locally. Start locally. You're going to do a pilot project. You're going to do an idea right in your neighborhood with your neighbors. Maybe if you have to take care of your siblings, maybe there's a couple more of their friends. Now you could maybe charge some money. Now you got a little enterprise going. So really don't get discouraged or overwhelmed. Dig in and take what's right in front of you and look at it differently and see what kind of skills that you will be building, because they're right there. Everything's right around your neighborhood.
Awesome. I think that's a super great perspective to just really spin what you're already doing and how you can pull different skills out of that that you've been learning just by taking on the responsibilities that you do have to take on.
Yep.
So I think we're getting wrapped up here. We did have one question in the Q&A that was again for you, Mary Helen, but so they wanted to know what inspired you to choose your career? And I think you have a lot to say about that.
Okay. I appreciate that. My inspiration, I've had many careers. I've worked in the legal industry for a couple decades, mostly in sales and marketing. But all of this work that I do with youth and empowering youth, and my nonprofit, Spark Y mission is empowering youth with hands-on education, rooted in sustainability and entrepreneurism. And in Minneapolis, in the schools, they're building huge aquaponic systems, growing their own organic food indoors, and a full cycle using the waste to feed those gardens. So here's the thing. I did it for a volunteer. I did it as a volunteer. Okay, I started the whole organization, the nonprofit, and next time I would go get the fundraising first. My passion is in youth and empowering youth, and also in collaborating to help the environment. And it really has been a lifelong process. The inspiration never dies. I might be taken off course, and I'm good at sales and marketing and managing and building businesses, but look where I am. I'm right back where I want to be, working with the youth and doing things that help you find your passion.
Awesome. I think that's a great way to end our workshop here. So thank you, Maddie, for joining us, and thank you, Mary Helen, for our wonderful presentation. As a reminder, we have a health career panel coming up at 1:30. I will post in the chat the link to the website where you can still register, and this video will be posted within 24 to 48 hours on our website as well, if you'd like to rewatch or watch again. So thank you again for everyone joining us, and thanks for bearing with us with starting a little bit late. We are happy to have you here, and thank you again. Have a great day.
My pleasure. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you.